Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Kate and this is a Spring Walks concertina. If you saw the last video in the playlist, you'll have seen the place where I go walking, which is the inspiration for the contents of the concertina. In this episode, I thought we'd have a look at how it's constructed, what it's constructed from, and basically how I use it. A concertina sketchbook is a long piece of paper made from one whole piece of paper, in this case from an A1 craft piece of 300 GSM. It takes a lot of hammer. That is, it'll take a lot of paint and a lot of wet stuff. Well, this one has. And it's divided into three and folded and then cut into one long continuous piece, fixed at points with masking tape, or sometimes I use packaging tape. In this particular one I use masking tape. The front and back cover are made from Amazon packaging, and the whole thing cost me the grand total of 30 British pence. I thought at this point it might be a good idea to have a look at the length and the construction of it. I'll just put these to one side. So this is the back side of it. There's nothing on the back side of it yet, and you can use both sides. So craft paper, it is like card. It is very heavy duty, and it does take a lot of paint. Fixed together there with masking tape, and as you can see, quite long and quite a bit to go at. Again, more fixation with masking tape. And the cover is just a piece of Amazon packaging cut to size, stuck on. This is not the finished cover. I just didn't like looking at a plain piece of Amazon packaging, so I thought I'd do a bit of doodling. My intentions for this particular sketchbook were clear when I put it together. I knew what I was going to do with it. I knew what I wanted it for. So I did it in one long piece, i.e. joining it once it was cut. And then I laid down with my acrylic paint, cheap and cheerful, blue, green, a bit of white, took it outside, splodged on the paint and went to work with my brayer. It was quite good fun. I think the neighbours thought I'd gone quite mad. And if you can imagine, this is the resulting effect all along the length of the concertina. So it lends itself quite nicely to a landscape and a panoramic view. I thought we'd do a quick recap of what was shown in the short. If you haven't seen it, that's in the playlist. If you have seen it, apologies, but we're going back to the beginning again. The wall's made from collage. It's a cast-off jelly print. The bits of grass are collage as well. Onward with the walk. Oh, my lamb's ear has taken a bit of a battering, so he needs fixing. I think he needs a mum as well, so we might have to go back and make him a mum. If you saw the video last week, you'll have seen some of the elements that I sketched that are on here. We'll have a look at those in a little while on the sketchbooks. So moving on from this, because I think this is what was shown in the short, was what I talked about in last week's video, was the memorial garden and walking up through the memorial I called it a memorial plantation. They call it a memorial forest. And the yellow of the daffodils, and the bronze of the plaques of the loved ones at the bottom of the trees. It's a nice little diversion if you want to add a little bit of an extra walk on to just going around the reservoir. So in this I've used multiple materials. There's acrylic paint, there's gouache, acrylic paint pens. Derwent Light Fast. They're my favourite colour pencils at the minute because they go over anything. They're fantastic. So there's our walk up through the memorial forest, the life for a life. And then as we come round further along the path down to the reservoir. Now I have to say a big thank you to two ladies at my art group, Eileen and Barbara. I hope you're watching. I hope you're listening. I showed them this part that was totally untouched last week. It was just the blue and the green of the prepped pages, and they said, oh, that's got to be the water. I was, oh, I think it might be sky. They went, no, it's a reservoir, it's got to be water. So on further investigation I had to agree with them, and so it became the water. And it being a sailing club, well, it just had to have a sailboat on it. And not just one sailboat, but two. So as you can see, it's still very much a work in progress. We've done this grassy bank here, and I'm still working along here. It's very much a layered process. I have to say I'm quite enjoying it. Taking time, seeing what's there, and then seeing what's coming from the inspiration of the walk. It's not an exact representation of the place. It's more an impression. And as I say, it's very much a work in progress. There is a little bit left at the end. What ideas are mulling around in the head for that. It's a nice little project to work on. Last week when I was out doing my sketching for the inspiration for the landscape, I took my A6. I think it's a Dale Rowney. There's no information there with it, I don't think. My Dale Rowney sketchbook out with me. It's A6. And that was one from a couple of weeks ago. It was a boat near the jetty. There were no boats out last week while I was there, so the boats on the concertina are from imagination and from sketching at other times. There's the sketch that I did last week. You can perhaps see where they fit into the concertina. An idea for the daffodils, and a page when it all goes wrong, when you put your pages away when they're still wet. See, it's all stuck, but never mind. Other things I take out in my little bag with me when I'm walking are another sketchbook. This is Art Creations by Talons. I haven't started to use this one for sketching around the reservoir yet. but it's always handy to have an extra, especially when you've got wet pages, and then you don't end up in the mess my daffodils did. My very messy watercolours, always easy to get into. Winsor & Newton Cotman Basic 12 set, as you can see. Very messy, but nice and light to carry. Very useful. And so with them, one always needs a water brush or two, a handy fine liner. I think that's possibly a Bold Mere from the works. A pencil for sketching. Another pencil for sketching. A Royal Langnickel tin containing a rubber and some pencils. Coloured pencils this time. Odd colours. Well, we've got the primaries. Red, blue, yellow. Always handy. The green and the brown. Again, always handy. But then this one strikes me as a little bit odd. A gold metallic pencil. How and why I would use that, no idea. Pencil sharpener and rubber. You may note that all these things are covered in paint and totally disgusting, but it means they're well loved and well used. A little notebook to note down anything that is of note. A red rag to a bowl to wipe my water brushes off. Another fine liner. Always useful if they are waterproof. I think one is and one isn't, and I always forget which one is. And a handy dandy bum bag to put everything in, or as my American cousins would call it, a fanny pack. And everything packs neatly and nicely back into here, as you can see. It is actually an old climbing equipment bag. Not that I've ever done any climbing, it's not my thing. Scared to death of heights. Was the ex-husband's. Thankfully he did something useful and left this behind for me. So that all zips up nicely and carries around nice and light. So there you have it. If you'd like to know more about the construction of the concertina, there are lots of videos out there on YouTube on how to make them, but if you'd like me to show you on the channel, drop me a message in the comments below. If you enjoyed, hello Lucy, you can hear the cat in the background. If you liked the content, please do like it, share, subscribe, that's even better, gets my content out to other people. It's been a pleasure making the video for you. I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and it encourages you to get out and sketch. The weather's getting better now. We're getting some better longer days. Get yourself a concertina. Get sketching. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.